All right, here we go.
Clint Arthur is here, business expert, author of 21 Performance Secrets of Donald Trump and What They Teach You at Wharton Business School.
If this was going to be the last year of your life, what would you want to accomplish?
Let me introduce you to the man that taught me.
With me now to break it down, leadership and performance expert Clint Arthur.
This is our new best friend here, Clint Arthur.
Clint Arthur.
Clint Arthur.
Clint Arthur, who made a living off of teaching other people to be better public speakers.
Nasdaq, what an honor to be with you here today.
Business expert and best-selling author of Speaking Games. Clint Arthur.
Clint, take it.
If you want an audience to be engaged, it helps if you entertain them, and you need them to be engaged if you want to be a great leader. Holy cow! Energy comes off as confidence.
Just do what he says.
The marketing of what you do is 100 times more important than what you actually do.
Bring in Clint Arthur.
The first step to getting people to give you money is to have them pay attention to you. Everybody thinks they know how to speak because they've been talking their whole lives. Yeah. But that doesn't make them a pro. I make 7 figures a year just by talking. And if people would just play the speaking game when they talk, they would have more fun, make more money, conquer their fear of public speaking, and have more impact, influence, and income. It's the bomb. Speaking led me to what I do now, helping other authors, speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs to make their dreams become their reality. Invest in yourself and in a mentor.
Accept the challenges so that you can feel the exhilaration.
Bam!
You guys want to hear more? Head to Clint Arthur TV. You are too much. I love it.
Amen.
All right, everybody. This is Clint Arthur, and I am coming to you live from the Windy City in Chicago. And before I get started, if I could please, if someone would be kind enough to type in the chat that you can see and hear, just to get confirmation so that everybody knows that you can see and hear, I would really appreciate it. Can anybody see and hear? Dominic says he can see and hear you well, Clint. Good. All good. Will, yes, very good. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate it. And we have a super fantastic extra triple special webinar tonight because I have procured for you guys an amazing guest to join me on the webinar tonight. She is somebody that I met at the National Speakers Association last week in New York City when I had the privilege to say a few words at that meeting for the second time I got to speak at the National Speakers Association New York chapter. And she was the keynote speaker of that event. She is Mikki Williams, a certified speaking professional, CSP designation, a member of the prestigious Speaker Hall of Fame. Did you hear that? She is a member of the Speaker Hall of Fame, as well as a TEDx speaker, a global celebrity speaker and transformational storyteller. She was chosen as one of the best speakers in the country by Meetings and Convention magazine, along with Tony Robbins, Bill Gates, Lou Holtz, Zig Ziglar, and Jay Leno. Mikki is an award-winning Vistage speaker, the world's leading executive organization, and a master chair of 2 of their peer advisory boards. If that's not enough, this busy entrepreneur runs speaker schools, the Mickey Mouth Club. Yes, I said Mickey Mouth Club. She also runs Keynote Camp, Outrageous Orators, and is an in-demand speech coach. She's my speech coach. And she has spoken in every U.S. state, every Canadian province, and every continent except Antarctica because she can't wear her stilettos in Antarctica. Mikki, I am so grateful for you to be here with us today. And I am really excited for what you're going to share with me and with everybody here tonight. There are already 27 people on this webinar, and I'm sure many more will be watching the replay, which will be made available forever. So thank you so much for joining me.
Well, Clint, it's wonderful, especially our little story of how we met a week ago. And one of the things I loved about you that I've told you over and over again, and I told everybody at speaker school today, midway through my talk, Clint comes up to me and he said, when do you run speaker school? I said, I actually have one next week. He said, I'll be there. Kind of rolled my eyes to myself. Yeah, sure. By the time I finished my speech, he'd already registered. I love your proactiveness, your tenacity. You are cool, man. Cool.
Well, when I find a real deal, I know what I want. See, I'm an alpha male. I see what I want. I see value. I'm a really discerning buyer, as are all my clients, because they've waded through all the BS that's out there in the marketplace and they found their way to what we offer, Allie and I. And, you know, I'm able to see real value and I'm able to see the real deal. And you, dear lady, beautiful lady, you are the real deal. I had a great time today on day one of this 3-day speaker school that I have paid a lot of money to attend myself. And I'm really grateful to you for taking some time out of your evening off to share your wisdom and expertise with me and my people. So thank you.
Well, I'm thrilled. We have a great new friendship brewing here, as well as a professional relationship. So when you asked me to do this tonight, and yes, I'm exhausted, and yes, I spoke for 8 hours, but I'm ready. Ask me a question. Ask me a question. What's be fun?
All right. So what we do for my clients is we create these speaking events in prestigious places, like at the Nasdaq Stock Exchange. And a lot of the people on this webinar will be speaking either on Monday at the Nasdaq Stock Exchange in New York City or in July at the Harvard Club in Boston. And they get 5 minutes, which is not a lot of time. However, in the hands of the right speaker, 5 minutes is plenty of time. And the first question I had for you today is, when you, as a Hall of Fame speaker, you've now been speaking for many decades. How many presentations have you made? Do you know?
Oh, absolutely not. I have no clue. 30 years? I don't know, 100 a year? What is that? I'm not the math person. What is that? Who knows?
Wow, it's a lot. And you've spoken at, as it said, on every continent, for every corporation, in every kind of venue, from stadiums to boardrooms.
And
What
the White House, and President Mandela's home, and yeah, all kinds of fun places.
What is the number one objective you have when you are beginning your speech? And could you offer a few strategies or tips for people when they're thinking about what they want to say when they start their speech?
Yeah, and even before that, Clint, like today in speaker school or when I'm out giving a speech on storytelling, I offer the most basic tip that you would think everybody knows and they don't. And for me, I'm absolutely passionate about people doing this. I call it the 3 W's. You walk into position, you don't hover next to your introducer, assuming you have an introduction, which you should, and that's another topic, because a bio is not an introduction. You walk into position, that's the first W. The second W is you wait until you have everybody quieted down and attention. You stand in the power pose. So the other half of wait, W-A-I-T, is W-E-I-G-H-T. And I often recommend people see Amy Cuddy's TED video if you don't know what a power pose is. Men and women, you stand shoulder width apart with your feet. The weight is forward on the balls of your feet, so you're grounded and you're not rocking and you're not pacing. And that is your power position. And then the third W is how you open. And if I had my button here, Clint, you know I'd hit it.
You want me to get the button?
Do you have one?
Yeah, which one do you want? I'll get them all. I'll get them all.
Oh, that's right. You're at my place. I completely forgot. While he's gone, I will tell you that I have 3 buttons that I hit. And if someone comes in and gets to their position without the third W, which I call the wow. And the wow means you start with a story, a quote, a question, a statistic, a poem, a test, a video, any single thing that after you've waited and got everybody's attention, you're literally grab them by doing that. If by chance they say, you ready? Not yet. If chance they, do you have the right one? If you get up there and say good morning, or thanks for being here, or it's good to be here again, that's when I hit the exactly. Simple, and I would say 90% of people do that. You get up and you say good morning, thanks for inviting me, great to see you. That is blah blah. You want to catch people right away with the first words out of your mouth. Peter Drucker said, culture eats strategy for breakfast. By a show of hands, how many of you read the book by Amy Cuddy? Statistically, look to your right, look to your left. One of you will be dead in 7 years. I mean, just grab them. No more good mornings. Thanks for being here. It's my first tips.
Amen. Amen. And when you are thinking about the difference between video or speaking on the stage, because for a lot of my clients, there's two audiences when we do this. There's the audience in the room, and it's a great audience in the room. Whether you're at Nasdaq or whether you're at the Harvard Club, the audience is all high-level, fully qualified prospects for anything anybody is doing.
Sure.
But then there's another audience, and that audience is the people who are going to be watching the video. And I would say that those are going to be your customers and prospects who you're going to deploy this marketing video on at some point in the future. Is there a difference for you in the way you would perform when you are making a video as opposed to when you are just speaking in a room?
Yeah, you know, my wonder, if I had to give you one thing that I think separates people from being successful from other people, it's a very simple word that you all know, and it's authenticity. And I believe that shows up whether you're in person or you're on video. You just stay as who you are. You know, and you'll hear me do this tomorrow, Clint, during the coaching day tomorrow. You know, I meet Clint offline on the side. We talk. He's a great guy. Everything's fine. And then he gets up on stage and he becomes what I call a speaker man. All of a sudden he has a new voice and a new persona. And I'm thinking, who the heck is that? So I like to think I am the same off stage, on stage, and on video. It's authenticity. Be who you are. Do not take on any other role. As I said, I have a lot of simple tips that people, I think, seem to ignore. And I think that's what makes you successful.
Okay, fantastic. When you're thinking about a story, and when you're thinking about a 5-minute presentation, let's just go back one step.
Sure.
What goes into your mind when you're designing a 5-minute presentation? Because that's what these people have. They have 5 minutes at the lectern.
Yeah, that's very good. He's referring to the fact that everybody says podium, and podium is what you stand on. It's not what you stand at. You stand at a lectern, you stand on a podium, and everybody says that wrong. So here you are. Now you're newly informed.
They have 5 minutes at the podium to say whatever they like, and when
at the lectern.
I'm sorry, on the podium at the lectern. Okay, to say whatever they like. And what goes through your mind when you have 5 minutes in front of an audience?
Easy. My acceptance speech into the Speaker Hall of Fame was 7 minutes. I just helped coach a guy in Canada who was getting an award from Junior Achievement. He had a 5-minute speech, and it's always the same. You start with the 3 W's, the walk, the wait, and the wow. So you open with a story, a quote, a poem, a statistic, a question, any of those things. Then you state what your objective is in accepting the award or whatever it is, maybe just in one objective because you only have 5 to 7 minutes. Then you tell a story that makes a point, that has a call to action for your audience. And depending on how short your story is, maybe you could do 2, maybe you could do 3. They're anecdotes. Maybe they're just 1 minute. And then you wrap it up with a wonderful close. And you can close with any of those same wow choices. They don't have to be open with a quote, close with a quote. You can open with a story and close with a humor, and open with a statistic and close with a quote. But it's the same format that I teach as a 10-hour speech, whether it's 5 minutes or it's 5 hours. That's the crux of it.
Great. Great. How about the types of stories? Is it better that you find to tell personal stories from your own life, or is it more powerful to tell stories about famous people, or what goes into story choice?
Absolutely, from my perspective and experience, it's telling your stories, whether they're your personal stories or your business stories or your experience stories, whatever they are. And, you know, people say, well, I don't have a lot of stories. Well, that's ridiculous. The day you were born was the story. We get stories every day of our life. People are just not really designed to think, oh, I have a story. And they happen in the moment. Can I share a quick example of that, Clint?
Please.
About how fast you find a story? It was the National Speakers Annual Convention 2 years ago. I forgot where it was. And I was opening with my program, The Art and Heart of Storytelling. So I go up to the front desk and I check in. I go to my room. It's a horrible room. I quickly come back to the front desk. The guy behind the desk with a name I couldn't pronounce from a country I probably couldn't pronounce. And I look at it and I see Obliviga.
Obliga, I have a terrible room. I'm here for a week. Can you give me another one? Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. We are all sold out. Oh, please, Obliga, I really need this. And I have to go because I have to give a speech. And finally, I just kept going because I'm from New York. You got that, Clint. I kept badgering him. He says, okay, I look right. So he's looking down at the computer. He's looking down. And I start to make small talk while he's looking down. Obliga, what is your name? Where are you from? Oh, I'm from Pakistan, ma'am. Really? And what is your name? Does it mean something? He's still looking at the computer. And he said, yes, ma'am. It means bearer of good news. We both stopped and laughed at the same moment. I literally went, he gave me my new room. I went to my speech and I opened with that story. It happened 5 minutes before my speech. That's how fast we get stories. Because it was so relative to me talking about storytelling. Where do you find stories? And I forgot your original question, but that was it. So yeah, personal stories are the best. Personal from your business, personal from your life. And then you have what we call public domain stories. I tell a story about Arnold Palmer, the golfer. I tell a story about Kentucky Fried Chicken, Colonel Sanders. So I kind of put some of those in. I never tell anyone else's story. So it's always my own, because those are always the best. Again, authenticity, sharing you.
Can we talk about costume for a second? Because I know you have very specific views about costume and how important and powerful it can be. If, for example, a person is getting to speak at a prestigious place like Nasdaq or at the Harvard Club, what are some ideas that you might have for them about what they should wear?
Yeah, my general rule of thumb is you're one step above your audience. So if you're a guy and you're speaking in the Bahamas to a group, you're not going to show up in Bermuda shorts and a T-shirt, and you're not going to show up in a three-piece suit with a tie. You probably show up in a nice pair of khaki slacks and a Tommy Bahama shirt. So you're always one step above your audience. Because what you wear, and I love that you call it costume, Clint, what you wear really either disconnects you or connects you to your audience. And you always have to think about that. Now, I'm a brand, and my brand is outrageous. So I can show up in an all-sequin dress and feathers or whatever I want, because that's who I am, and that's who they hire. But for most people that I coach, I always tell them one step above your audience. And that depends on where you are, the type of business. You know, one time I spoke for bankers, and because I'm so outrageous, I think I said to them, it was early in my career before I knew better, what do you want me to wear? And they said, we want you to be you. We hired you. You're not one of us. You don't have to wear banker's blue or IBM red tie or whatever. And so it's just, general rule of thumb is one step above. Let me go back to what you asked about when I was talking about the 3 W's and what a power position is. Men, never put your hands in your pocket, ever. I know it's comfortable, I know it's default, but a body language expert will tell you it means you're hiding something. And ladies, women, gals, no girly position. What's a girly position? Sinking into one hip. You lose your power. You're not only just speaking, folks, you are also presenting yourself by the way you dress, by the way you stand. All of that contributes to the overall package of you. Clint, where are you going?
I'm trying to get some better internet for you. That's all.
Oh, for me, am I not coming across clear?
Now you're better. I think you're better.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Yes.
Fantastic. Now, how about if a person was to wear, like I have clients who are contractors or clients who are doctors. Would you ever advise a doctor to wear a lab coat or a medical costume to give a speech in a place?
No, I wouldn't. I still believe if you're giving a speech, you're in a business presentation mode, and that should reflect that. And I don't, you know, an aerobic instructor is not wearing her aerobic gear, a golfer is not wearing his golf gear. That is just my professional opinion.
Okay, I know I have one guy, he builds and remodels homes for billionaires. Mm-hmm. And he normally wears like a Dickies shirt with his logo on it and like nice khaki pants. Would you advise against wearing that costume into this situation?
Well, it depends where he's speaking and what the occasion is. You know, if he's speaking at a banquet, no, that wouldn't be proper. If he's speaking during the day on site to a group of people. So I think there's some nuances to what my general rule of thumb is to one step above, but it really depends on who's in the audience and where
you're being.
Okay, so your perspective is your costume should be appropriate to the environment in which you're speaking, not
and the audience and the number of the crowd and the venue, all of those things.
Okay, not necessarily to what you do, but more towards where you're going to be speaking.
Yes, absolutely.
In that environment. Okay. Yeah, I like that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and then you have to be sensitive to, and again, depends how many people you're speaking to, but I want to know what the backdrop is, because if it's a black backdrop, I'm not going to wear a black suit. So sometimes the colors you choose are affected by what's on stage behind you, and those are questions you have to ask. Great.
We had a question from Kevin Freem. He's asking, could a cybersecurity expert wear a shiny gray sharkskin suit?
How funny, because I just told the Clint and my speaker school group today, I just did my keynote camp for 2 different cybersecurity experts. So Kevin, I know what 2-factor authentication is. And I've learned all kinds of things from my 2 cybersecurity experts. I don't know, that type of suit has a reputation gone by, but I've seen some very classy guys make it a very classy look. So I would have no problem with that. And you could even make reference to it as I was talking today about self-effacing humor. What people might think of someone who shows up in that type of suit. And I think it'd be an absolute good platform for a little humor as well.
Cool. Very cool. All right. Then let's talk about the dismount, how to dismount out of a speech. How do you recommend that people end a 5-minute speech in a powerful way?
Ending the 5 minutes is no different than ending the 1 hour or the 5 hours or 3 hours. It's a powerful ending. It's choosing from that whole list that I keep rattling off to all of you. End with a powerful quote, end with a question, end with a statistic, end with a story, end with something, a one-liner. Just make it punchy so they remember you. Or ask that question that they walk away with and they have to think of what that answer is going to be. Any one of those work.
Okay, great. I know that you committed to be on here for 20 minutes. Would you be good enough to listen to maybe a hot seat or 2?
I could do that for, maybe 1 or 2.
I'll
try.
Who wants to volunteer for a hot seat? If you want to volunteer for a hot seat and have an opportunity to get some coaching from me and Mikki, please type your name in your chat. And Dr. Deb Matthew is the first one in. So let me unmute Dr. Deb Matthew. And then we'll go to Gary Sipos. And then I think that'll be all the time we have for Mikki. Let me see here. Dr. Deb Matthews. There you go. Are you on a phone also, Dr. Deb? And what number would you be on? Because I'm seeing you, but I'm not able to unmute you, Dr. Deb. So you'll call in. All right, we're going to start with Gary Sipos, and then we'll come back to Dr. Deb, because you'll be on by then. Gary, are you there?
This is Gary Sipos.
Hey, good to have you on, Gary. Excited to see you on Sunday or Monday, and both.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
Yeah.
Nasdaq, here we come.
Cool. Well, look, you've got a 5-minute speech, so why don't you have at it?
All right, here we go. So let me get my power position going here. My power pose. My hands are out of my pocket.
Good.
Good. Gary, don't say good evening, or I'll have to come through the screen and smack you. I'm from New York. Watch it.
All right. So here we go. Mrs. Feuder. Mrs. Feuder. Who was Mrs. Feuder? Well, she was my kindergarten teacher, and she has a direct connection to why one of my startups ended on being listed right here on the Nasdaq. So when I was in kindergarten at 10:30 in the morning, every single morning, she would call for recess, and all of us kids would pile out the door like a herd of turtles, and we'd go out and we'd play, Four Square and Teeter Totter and Tag Your It. But every once in a while, she would say, it's recess time, and I would start running out the door with the rest of my friends with the unbridled passion that kindergartners have, and she'd say, wait a minute, Gary, I want you to sit over here and read a book with me, which I thought was a little bit odd, but I would sit next to her. And then halfway through the book reading, she would say, "Hey, Gary, do you want to share a sandwich?" And I'd say, "Sure." And the reason why is because I was really hungry. And the reason why that was is because most of the time I would have breakfast in the morning. But every once in a while, my family, well, we were sort of poor, and I wouldn't have breakfast. My mother, would give me a glass of water to drink and then send me off to school. And somehow Mrs. Feuder always knew that, probably because I was holding my stomach, saying, "Oh," when I was sitting in class. But I'm not sure what sign I gave her, but she would read it. And then she was always kind enough to share a sandwich at recess, at morning recess with me. Just an amazing lady, one of my heroes. And so one other thing she would do is we would have conversations. And I said to her one time, "Mrs. Feuder, what can I do to help my family? We're so poor." And she said, "Gary, there is one thing you could do. The one thing you can do is you can continue to study hard. And one day, it's going to be a long time, but one day you'll be able to help out your family. So that's what you need to do." And that's what I did. I studied hard. And the last time that I lived in a car with my father was when I was a freshman in college. And then my sophomore year in college, I was able to support myself. And finally, after college, I was able to finally send money home to my parents, which was quite an accomplishment for me. And then finally, years after that, a company I started in my garage was listed on the Nasdaq, and boy, was I able to help my family out then. So Mrs. Feuder's coaching helped me achieve that. And that's my first story of my hero, Mrs. Feuder. And I certainly hope that everybody had a Mrs. Feuder in their lives. And my second story, and my final story, is about another coach I had. And that coach was well after the Nasdaq, because I gave all my money to the big financial firms, the financial firms that you probably have heard about. In fact, some of them are here at the Nasdaq. And what was odd was my accounts, they kept on going down and down, even though my statements, they said positive rate of return. And I was confused. So I went to the Hoover Institution, which one of my professors at Stanford was a member. He was a fellow. And I gave him all my statements and said, "What's going on?" And he had a big laugh. And because I guess I was a never-ending source of humor for him. And he gave me insights that I was fortunate to have, that most, very uncommon insights, because, for example, Dr. Murata, he consulted with President Eisenhower and President Obama and all the presidents in between, so it was quite unusual insights he would provide. And one of the cute sayings he told me was, "Control is not important until it is important, and when it's important, it's very important." It sounds like a silly little statement, but I finally understood how profound that statement was. And he was talking about control of my money. And one of the things he taught me, one of the many insights he taught me, was that we all need to control our money. And most people, for example, if they have an IRA or a 401k, they believe they control that money, but they don't. And who controls your money? Who controls your own 401k or your own IRA? And the answer is Congress does. And so then I looked at Professor Murata and the fellows, a little tautology there, fellow fellows that he has there at the Hoover Institution, and asked him, well, how do I get in control? And that's what I wrote my book about, and it's called Financial Secrets from Stanford's Hoover's Tower. And since I'm here at the Nasdaq, that's a shameless plug for my book, but it is an international bestseller. And at the Nasdaq, one of the hearts of capitalism, I might as well plug my book. And I recommend that all of you read it too, because you'll get insights on how to take control of your financial future. So who controls your money?
Cool. Well, I think you went over a little bit, but not too bad. You were over about 40 seconds, I would say. Mikki, do you have some comments for Gary?
Sure. When you started, what was the teacher's name, Mrs. Reuter?
Mrs. Feuder, right.
It's hard for me to tell what it is. Just say her name once, and let it sit. In other words, if I was starting a speech with Clint's name, I would do Clint Arthur. I met Clint about 2 weeks ago at an event. So drop her name and let it sit. So that gives the audience time to think of who that is. I know someone by that name. I wonder who that. It gives them time to lock into your first word. You did, Mrs. Beauty, Mrs. Judy, you started speaking. I didn't have time to think. And then you have to get rid of, it's what I call cutting the fat, Gary. You have a lot of words that are, I don't need. You never say things like, my second story is, or I'm going to tell you, or those are just, you just do it. So when you start Mrs. Reuter, you would just say, my teacher when I was in 3rd grade, whatever, but you have a tendency to preface everything you're going to say by telling me what you're going to be telling me to do. And if I were you, the one thing I'd really work on is what I call vocal shading. Everything you spoke on was at one volume and one pace. You didn't say anything that was that important to slow down and enunciate. You didn't get so excited when you finally got the food that you were going to eat for the first time. You didn't lower your voice and get a little soft when you thought about or asking me, do I have a mentor in my life, which you could have left as the last question. Instead of, the other thing we don't do, we don't say, I hope you will do this and I hope you will do that. You tell enough of a powerful story that all you have to do is leave someone with a question or end the story without saying, it's what I call going into lecture mode. The story was great, and then you went into, I hope all of you will take all this and find who the person, and that's blah, 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 blah. It's a very powerful story until you blobbed with it. The second story, for me, I would leave out completely. I think you make a great point with your first story. I'd work on that and craft it. And if you do tell that second story, I would absolutely track you down and smack you silly if you started that sales pitch and ruined everything you did right before it. Sorry. Because as soon as you do that sales pitch, you've lost me. All that authenticity, all that honesty that came out of you, the great storytelling, you just, for me, and I coach people about this, you tell a great speech and you weave your book in or a quote from your book, but you downright went to selling. And that's a big no-no. Clint?
I agree. I mean, celebrities don't sell. Celebrities only talk and tell stories. That's really all they do.
You know what sells, Gary? Facts tell, stories sell. Tell me a story from the book. That's how you reference the book. Tell me a quote from the book or a statistic from the book. That's how I'll know you have a book, and I'll say, oh, wow, he's got a book. I want to buy it. But don't sell me. That's my 2 cents.
Yay! Excellent.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. Everything you said was right on.
You're quite welcome. And I do have to leave, Clint, so I'm sorry. I have to leave you now. But thank you all for having me on. Clint, it was a pleasure. You do great work. Everybody, you're lucky to have this great leader there, and enjoy the evening.
Thanks, Mikki. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Everybody, I'm staying on. I'm just going to sign off on Skype. And there we go. Very good. Wow. So there you go. Gary Sipos got it. Gary Sipos got it. And lucky for you, I'm glad we were able to have Mikki on. But let's continue on with some more. Hot seats. And I'd like to go on with Deb Matthew because she said, let's see, what's the number that you were on? 704. Hey, Deb, are you there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
I'm here.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, sorry you missed out on that one. I don't know what happened with you because all I did was click on your icon the way I would, the way I did last time, but you wouldn't unmute last time.
Yeah, I couldn't unmute from my end either. Usually at least I can unmute my side. So
yep. Yep. All right. Well, you're going to have to settle for little old me, but I hope that'll be good enough for you. And I would love to hear your speech. So why don't you go ahead? I'll start a timer too. Bam.
Okay. I used to be nice. I was calm and patient And that was really important because I have 4 boys, and everybody with boys knows that they get loud and dirty. You just have to let that stuff wash over you. It's kind of a survival mechanism. I had this sweet voice that I used with my kids. Not now, boys. Please take the ball outside, not in my living room. But then I wasn't so nice. That sweet voice was a thing of the past. It got replaced by the exorcist voice. Get the ball out of my house now! And I have to be honest, they moved way faster to the exorcist voice. But that was not the kind of mom that I wanted to be. And my husband really got the worst of it. I remember one night, I'm making dinner for the kids, and I counted out exactly 12 chicken nuggets. So I had 3 nuggets for each kid. I turned my back for just a minute, and my husband walks into the kitchen, and he sees this whole platter of chicken nuggets just sitting there. So he ate one. I turned around, my head started spinning. Those were not for you. Now, besides behaving like the Wicked Witch of the West, I was anxious where I used to be calm. I was exhausted all the time, and I felt very overwhelmed. Every little thing was just stressing me out. And I knew that this wasn't me. Something was wrong. But nothing in my medical school training explained what was going on, so I just didn't understand. Until I read a book that was written by Suzanne Somers about bioidentical hormones. And suddenly everything made sense. You see, I have an autoimmune condition called Hashimoto's, which causes low thyroid function, and the medication that I was being treated with wasn't working for me. At the time, I was in my late 30s, and my other hormones were starting to change, and that was just making everything worse. So once I understood what the problem was, I was able to find solutions. My husband got his wife back, my kids got their mom back, I got my life back. Everything is different. And as a result of my own personal experience, I changed everything about how I practice medicine. So now, instead of prescribing drugs to put Band-Aids over people's symptoms, I help them understand the root cause of what's going on so that they can love the way they feel. Now, we're here at Nasdaq, where we're thinking about finances and investments, and I'd like you to take a moment to think about what is your most valuable investment. Is it your car? Is it your house? I would argue that your most valuable investment is your health. If you want to have a successful professional career, you need to have energy, motivation, a clear mind. And when the day comes that you want to retire and cash out your investments, if you don't have your health, all the money in the world isn't going to matter. So I hope that all of you feel great, have energy, you are able to live your life to the fullest. But if that's not the case, if you're struggling, if you need caffeine to get through the day, if you're not sleeping at night, if your memory is bad, if your mood stinks, if your belly is bloated, if you just know that there could be more, and if your doctor doesn't have the answer, please know that there is help available. The solution does not usually come in the bottom of a prescription bottle, and it is not always covered by your health insurance. But you only get one life. You are worth it, and you deserve to love the way you feel and to live well, because living well is the best medicine.
Yeah. Wow, look at that. 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Beautiful. Really, really great job there, Deb. I really liked it a lot. And the only thing is, when you were talking about your husband coming in and taking the McNugget, let's go back to that, okay?
Okay.
I would like you to become more of a monster.
So So I understand, and I'll tell you what I was thinking to do is, and it's hard when I'm on the phone, and you know it's hard, but
it's not. It's all the same. Performance is performance.
Okay. So I will practice in front of the mirror being a horrible monster, and then what I was going to do is like talk sort of to the left, and then turn to the right like I'm him, and sort of hold my hands up like a criminal that's just been caught, you know, like with big eyes, kind of going, what the hell is this lady doing? Kind of look on his face.
Okay, this is how I think it should go. You ready?
Okay.
I think it should go. Now, I counted out exactly 12 chicken nuggets. And they're sitting there on the counter, cooling off after I take them out of the oven. And I go to put something in the sink. And when I go to the sink, in comes my husband, who makes a beeline for the chicken McNuggets. And he takes one, and just as he's putting it in his mouth and closing it, I turn my head around, and I see him eating the nugget, and I go, "Those are not for you!" He literally spit the nugget out of his mouth and said, "I'm sorry."
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
Why not?
Sure. Okay. So, I got 3 nuggets for each, and I turn my back for a second to put something in the sink, and my husband walks into the kitchen, and he sees a whole platter of chicken nuggets just sitting there. So he reaches over, and he takes one, and I turn around. Just as he's putting it in his mouth, "Those nuggets aren't for you!" And he spits it out. And I don't know, what was I supposed to say after that?
Sorry. There you go. You know, look, guys, you are not fact tellers. You are storytellers. You are entertainers, performers. And really, the only thing the audience wants, the only thing the audience cares about is being entertained. That's it. And either they are or they're not. Either you're putting on a great show or you're not. And nobody cares about anything else. They're just sitting there in a room. They're in the moment, and it's their life. So entertain these people. Give them a good show. Give them some fun. Do stuff that's out of the ordinary. Talk about things that are unusual things. Give performances so that people are seeing something that they're not just seeing every day. Every day they see just people talking. They see that every day. What they don't see every day is people doing outrageous things. And those are the things that will stick out in people's mind and will make you seem larger than life in the eyes of your customers and prospects. Good. Really great.
Can I ask you one question?
Yes, Deb.
Oh, sorry. So when I try to do my sort of version of the Exorcist voice, I get really hoarse. And so then when I go on to try to do the next sentences, I feel it. Is there some way to do some kind of outrageous voice that's not making me hoarse?
Okay, well.
Like shriek me? I don't know.
Like what?
Well, so when I'm sort of supposed to be yelling at my kids, I end up kind of going in a low voice, like, "Get the ball out of my house." But that's what's really harsh on my voice. So I don't know, maybe if I'm like high pitch.
Sure.
Yeah, but then that I can't.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just practice in front of the mirror.
You could do a voice like, "Get that ball out of this house!" You know, it's less about the voice than it is about the physicality of the performance.
Okay.
You could do it like, "Get that ball out of my house." You could do something like that.
Okay. Just be outrageous.
Yeah, definitely. Be outrageous. Do you know what Mikki has a speakers bureau? You know what her speakers bureau is called? Outrageous Speakers. I didn't say the word outrageous. You said the word outrageous, Deb. You said just be outrageous. I think being outrageous is a good idea.
I will do my best.
Yay! I am so proud of you. You know, I didn't work on that speech with you at all. That's all you, and you did a fantastic job. Really, truly. You know why? you did exactly what Mikki was talking about. All you did was really tell stories.
Well, I've been listening to the webinars.
Yeah, man. Way to go, my girl. Way to go. I'm really excited for you. You are really making a big change in your life.
Yeah, I would never in a million years have gone shrieking or outrageous in public in any manner whatsoever in the past.
How's that impacting your private? You said you'd never do that in public. How's that impacting private, your rest of your life?
I guess I am a lot less worried about sort of trying to keep up appearances or thinking about what would people think of me if I do something, and so it sort of lets me be a little bit more free to, what the heck, in all kinds of different ways.
Cool. Freedom is good. I live my life for freedom, power, and adventure. And it's the freedom that I really enjoy the most. Freedom to do whatever I want, freedom to be whatever I want, freedom to behave whatever I want, however I want, as much as I can. The more I feel free, the happier I am. And I got to tell you guys something. The other day, I was so free because I was free and clear. You know that thing at the airport, clear? Do you know what that is, Deb?
No.
Clear is like, it's an airport.
So you go through the line?
Yeah, you go through the line fast, right? They have these kiosks, and you register with Clear, and you put your fingers on the scanner, and it reads your fingerprints and shows up a picture of you, and that Clear representative screens you and makes sure that you're really you and you're pre-screened, and they just take you right to the front of the TSA pre-line and just put you right in front. And for that, you pay $85 a year. And I went to LAX yesterday to fly out on Southwest Airlines, and there was so many people in line, but I was free and clear. See, I was clear, which made me free. And I just went right through all the lines, and I was like, I was in just such a great mood. All these people were waiting in these lines, and my airport experience was completely stress-free because I had this Clear. And I just go right through security, and I get to the other side, and I'm like feeling really good. And I'm walking through the terminal, and this lady comes up to me, and she goes, "Hey, you're that guy, that celebrity guy." I'm like, "I'm Clint Arthur. I'm the creator of Celebrity Launchpad." She goes, "Yeah, that's you." I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." And I talked to her for a while, and we had a 10-minute conversation, and then we sat down with an enrollment form, and she enrolled for for Nasdaq in December and for Celebrity Launchpad. Just boom, 15 minutes. That's what freedom does for you. That's what being in a good mood because you're free can do for you. Is any of this making sense for you, Dr. Deb?
It is.
Yeah. When you're free and you're in a good mood and you don't feel like you have to do anything in your life other than what you want to do, you're just in a better mood. And you know what? That's a very attractive quality in a person. That's a very powerful quality in a person. That's a very lucrative quality in a person because people are attracted to freedom. People are attracted to a person who is free from societal constraints, from financial constraints, from time constraints. I was early at the airport. I was at the airport. I just went through security so fast. I had all this time. I was just like cruising through free because of Clear. And it resulted in a very nice recurring income for several months now. She's on a monthly installment plan, and it's a very nice little deal to just get while you're walking through the airport because I was free and clear. So I really appreciate that you say that you're feeling more free. And I want you to see, I want you to be observant of that, and I want you to see how is that sense of freedom manifesting itself in other ways other than just feeling good. Okay, will you do that?
I will.
Good. Great job. Yay, Dr. Deb.
Thank you.
Thank you, sweetie. Amazing job. I'm excited to see you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, I would like to go on to, let's see, Jenny Kong volunteered. Question from Al on mechanics. He tends to walk in front of or next to the lectern. Thoughts on moving and or positioning. You're not going to move at the lectern, because if you move away from the lectern, then you won't be heard, because the microphones are on the lectern. You're not going to have a body mic. You're only going to have the mic on the lectern. The sound we get from those mics on the lectern is fantastic, and you're just going to stand at the lectern. You're just going to stand at the lectern and say your speech and move forward. So that is the mechanics on that. All right, I'm going to go on and see if I can find Jenny Kong. Here's Jenny Kong. Hey, Jenny Kong, are you there?
Hey, hello, yes.
Hey, good. Did you get my audio today?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. I hope that was helpful for you, and I'm happy to hear your speech.
Okay, so let me just, let me just read it. So,
I just want to stop 1 second here, and I want to say that I see the belly dancers commenting on Dr. Deb needing a voice coach. I think Dr. Deb's voice is one of the best voices I've ever heard. I told Dr. Deb, and I have done professional voiceovers, and I've worked with students about voices all the time, and I think Dr. Deb's voice is amazing, and I don't want Dr. Deb's voice to change. I just want her to continue developing the use of her instrument and not having some person like, you know, who doesn't know any better, because I do know. I don't want anybody messing up her voice. Now, yes, she's experiencing some pain when she's shrieking. Well, don't do anything that's going to hurt you. That's all I got to say about that. If something hurts you, don't do it. That makes sense, I hope. I love you, belly dancer. I love your wanting the best for her, but I don't want some voice coach who doesn't know better screwing up her voice, because her voice is amazing. All right, Jenny Kong, let's hear what you got.
Okay, sure. So let me start.
Go ahead.
Finally, I reached Mountain Everest base camp, 17,000 feet high in elevation. With every step, my breath was short, my heart was pounding. I looked at the spectacular, knife-edge Mountain Everest peak, shining in the dark blue sky. Then a still caught my eyes. 3 times more climbers died on the descent after successfully submit. Ladies and gentlemen, most of you here have successfully reached your financial summit. You have already accumulated sufficient wealth. But do you know that there are still lots of risks ahead, waiting for you? Maybe even more risk on the descent than on the ascent, like climbing the Mountain Everest. When you are ready for your dream retirement, when you are drinking wine on the Hawaii beach, the stock market crash, and you lose 40% of your assets, how do you feel about that? How do you hedge the market risk? How do you keep the peace of mind during retirement? When you look at your multi-million-dollar 401k portfolio, believing that this should be enough to last for the rest of your life. What if the government increased income tax by 10% to cover Medicare, Social Security, and its $20 trillion deficit? Are you ready to watch your 401k portfolio shrink 3 times faster by the withdrawal? How do you shelter your 401k assets from the rising tax rate? How do you make sure that you will have steady income stream for the rest of your life, no matter how the market goes? Money is not everything. The Apple CEO Steve Jobs said that we should spend time to enjoy our life, enjoy our family, before it is too late. We shouldn't stress ourselves too much and keep too much uncertainty for our dream retirement life, because we never know which day we will die. Your focus for retirement may need to shift from higher risk, higher return to keep a peaceful mind, to enjoy the last few decades of your life. All of you have worked hard to successfully reach your summit, but do you know how to get done safely and efficiently? Ladies and gentlemen, wealth distribution has very different strategies and focus than wealth accumulation, and we are the expert. As the number 2 producer for Allianz in this country, during the last 20 years, we have helped many high net worth clients to use our 12 prestigious strategies to significantly reduce the tax on their wealth distribution. We also share 7 unique ways to guide our high net worth clients to achieve $0 estate tax by charitable planning. In addition, we truly understand that sometimes for ultra high net worth clients, tax reduction may not be the number 1 priority. Plan flexibility, less regulation, privacy, asset protection sometimes are even more important. That is why Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg finally chose the charitable LLC instead of the private foundation. And we have used the same charitable LLC strategies to help some high net worth clients before this strategy became famous with Mark's story. So let us help you. Let us remove all the unnecessary market risk and the tax risk from your retirement life and maintain a decent return. Let's talk about the tax efficient way to pass your estate to the next generation. Let us follow your heart and help you to contribute to your favorite charity to make this world a better place. To let us to guide you to get down from your mountain Everest safely and efficiently. Thank you. That's all.
All right. So you went to 6 minutes and 13 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, I want to see how long the audio was when I read your speech for you. Let me look here. How long was it when I did it? When I did it, now look, when I did it, it was only 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
Yes.
Okay? That means you have to speak much faster.
Okay. Oh, I delete some content.
You can either delete some content, which I think might be good, or you could just say it faster. Like when I said your speech, here's how fast I said it.
17,000 feet high in elevation. With every step, my breath was short, my heart was pounding. I looked at the spectacular knife-edge Mount Everest peak, shining under the dark blue sky. Then a steel caught my eyes.
Now, I wanted to ask you, what does that mean? A steel caught your eyes. What does that mean?
A steel means, you know, a stone, a big stone, and you you make some text on the stone, you know, like those things that people usually put on their grave, something like that.
Oh, a steel.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what that's called. What you wanted to say was, and then I saw somebody's.
It's a stone, basically a big block of stone, and with some text on it. That's what it is.
With some what on it?
Text, T-E-X-T.
With
text.
words on it. With words on it.
With words on it.
Yeah, but then you saw. But then when I got to the top, then I saw somebody's gravestone. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there's no grave there, but there's just just a stone, and some words on it. That's all. Yeah. A stone, sculptured with some words on it.
Tombstone.
Okay.
Okay. Then I saw a tombstone. Did you know that more people die when they're descending Everest than when they're going up? And there was someone who had died. Boom. Okay, that was my question. I didn't know what that was.
Okay.
But look, Jenny, I think that if you speak faster, it would be better.
Okay.
I think people would like it more.
Okay.
I think you're doing a great job because, as everyone can tell, English is not your first language, and everybody really respects the fact that you're speaking in English and that you're doing a fantastic job. You just need to do it faster.
Okay.
Okay? Other than that, I like it a lot. You know, if you can't do it faster, then you have to cut something out.
Yes, I can cut something out.
Okay? You should probably cut something out and speak faster.
Okay, sure.
Okay?
Okay.
Good. Good job, Jenny. Thank you. I'll look forward to seeing you on Monday. And Allie says she loves it. Okay. Very good. We'll see you on Monday. All right. Let's go on to Rudy. Rudy, where are you, Rudy? I saw that you wanted to be unmuted. Belly Dancer think you did a great job too. Let's see if we can find Rudy here. Are you still on here, Rudy? PQ. I don't know that I see Rudy on here. Rudy left. Okay. Well, I see Christine Petraglia. Hey, Christine, are you ready to do it? Are you there?
Sure.
Yeah, you want to do
here.
it? All right, good. Let's hear you.
Okay. In 2001, I was a professional in the corporate world of financial services and investment management for more than 10 years. By the end of that year, while I was director of client services at the New York Stock Exchange, is when I realized my next career move. I was looking for a niche idea that complemented my skill sets while giving me an opportunity to start my own business. I wanted to contribute more value while implementing positive change and making a real difference. While at the New York Stock Exchange, I really enjoyed working with my colleagues and the listed company executives. Some of those friendships and business relationships are still going strong today. My responsibilities included marketing the NYSE specialist system and brand and this marketing services to the C-suite of Fortune 500 companies. My clients included some of the largest pharma and consumer companies globally. One day, while I was on the floor, there was a bell ringing event at the exchange with one of my clients, and they were a global pharma company. The CFO and his head of investor relations and I would talk about work and careers. And while on the floor that day, they suggested investor relations as a good opportunity to be my next career move. They felt that I had many of the skills needed to become successful at helping to market companies and communicate their story to the investor community. So I did some research, I did some thinking about it, and then within 1 month, the same situation happened again with one of my other clients. This time, it was one of the largest consumer product companies. The chairman and the CFO actually offered me an opportunity to work inside the company, but I kindly and I respectfully declined, as it made me realize even more, as if karma, that IR, investor relations, was an area that I could focus on to start my own business. The only difference would be is I would be working with entrepreneurs and small growing companies. I would be helping these entrepreneurs and helping these small private and public companies with their marketing, investor relations, and communications needs. You know, I later contacted a friend of mine who had an IR agency working with small companies. And I worked at this agency to learn a bit more about the small cap community, its stakeholders, and emerging growing companies. And I grew my relationships and contacts there from scratch. And then soon after, I left to start my own firm. And I really enjoy making a positive impact and playing a part in nurturing these small companies, especially when they have amazing products, technologies, and treatments, and helping them get to the next level, whether it's an M&A opportunity or uplisting to a national exchange like the Nasdaq. And over the past 12 years of successfully operating my own company, I've definitely had some good times and some challenging times. I have definitely grown and become stronger. As an entrepreneur, you're always finding ways to be resourceful, to stay relevant, and adding value each day for your clients. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank my friends, colleagues, and clients for always believing in my integrity and trusting in my expertise. As a small business owner, I have acquired tremendous knowledge in different industries and met some of the most interesting people. And these experiences are yet another stepping stone in preparing me for my next venture. Thank you.
All right.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that was like 4 minutes.
Yeah, when I say it, I looked at the paper a lot, but I think when I say when I say it in front of a mirror, it's usually like 4:45. So I'm a little slower when I'm saying in front of a mirror.
Okay.
So I need to practice a little bit more.
Yeah, you know, if you're gonna if you're gonna do this speech, you got to do this speech, and really, you know, Mikki talked about not having speaker voice. And really, the best speakers just talk like they're just talking.
Right.
It's not easy. Not easy. And ideally, you want to get it to the point where you're going to be able to just talk like you're just talking. So let's try it from the beginning again. I just got to get my plug because my battery is getting low and I need to go plug in my computer. Why don't you think about it for a second? I'm just going to go get my plug, and I want you to try it again, and I want you to try to do it in a more conversational tone. Okay?
Okay.
All right. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You know, I also feel when I'm speaking, I feel like this pressure in my chest sometimes, and it's only when I'm standing up I feel that way. When I'm sitting down and I'm speaking in front of people that I know, I'm fine, but it's when I'm in front of people, I always feel this like pressure in my chest. I have to remember to breathe, I guess, because that's sometimes what I also do, you know? I don't take deep breaths or breaths after long sentences.
Yep, you gotta. Hey, the more you speak, the more you do these talks in front of strangers, the more comfortable you're gonna get with it.
So, okay, here you go.
Okay.
In 2001, I was a professional in the corporate world of financial services and investment management for more than 10 years. By the end of that year, while I was director of client services at the New York Stock Exchange, is when I realized my next career move. I was looking for a niche idea that complemented my skill sets while giving me an opportunity to start my own business. I wanted to contribute more value and implement positive change and making a difference. While at the New York Stock Exchange, I really enjoyed working with my colleagues and listed company executives. Some of those friendships and business relationships are still going strong today. My responsibilities there included marketing the NYSE specialist system, its branding and services to the C-suite of Fortune 500 companies. My clients included some of the largest pharma and consumer companies globally. One day, there was a bell-ringing event on the trading floor of the exchange with one of my clients, a global pharma company. And the CFO and the head of investor relations and I would talk about work and careers. And while on the floor that day, they suggested investor relations as an opportunity to explore as my next career move. They felt that I had many of the skill sets needed to become successful at helping to market companies and communicate their story to the investor community. So I did some research and I did some thinking about it. But then within a month, the same situation actually happened again with one of my other clients. This time it was one of the largest consumer products companies. The chairman and the CFO actually offered me an opportunity to work inside the company. And I kindly and respectfully declined, as it made me realize even more, as if karma, that investor relations was an area that I could focus on to start my own business.
I'm going to stop you right there. That's much better. Much better.
Okay.
Yeah, much
Do you
more.
want me to continue or not?
No, that it's
but I understand now what you're saying. I got it. Yeah.
Out of fairness to the others, I want to offer other people an opportunity to speak. But
of course.
But I think that was much better. You did feel the difference, right?
Yeah, I did when I was saying it that way. So I have to. I'm going to practice it more that way.
Yeah, that's how you have to practice it. You want to just sound like you're talking. You just want to sound like you're talking. Okay?
Great. Yeah, thank you.
Great job, Christine.
I'll see you Sunday night.
Yeah, I'm excited to see you Sunday night. We're going to have fun.
Okay.
Cool.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, let's go on to Thatcher. Hey, Thatcher, are you there? Thatcher. Hey, man.
Hey, Clint. Yeah, I had to unmute my browser.
Cool, man. How you doing tonight?
Doing well.
Cool. Have you been working on the speech?
Yep, got it under 5 minutes. Should be anyway.
Good. Well, let's hear you give it a try.
All right. Nasdaq. It's an honor to be here today to speak on a subject that I'm. Sorry, my phone is blowing up. 1 second. I have to turn this off. It's going to distract me. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
1 second. There we go. All right. Nasdaq. It's an honor to be here today to speak on a topic that I'm extremely passionate about.
Hey, stop. Okay, there's two things that are really important.
Okay.
Number one, how you say what you say is more important than what you actually say. If I don't feel like you're being sincere when you say that it's an honor, then that undermines what you're trying to say. If you're telling me that it's an honor to speak at Nasdaq, I need to feel like you really mean that. Otherwise, don't say it. Do you think it's an honor?
Yes. Absolutely.
You know how many people get to speak at Nasdaq every year?
No idea.
Maybe 100, 200, maybe 200.
Wow. Okay.
That's it.
Got it.
Maybe 200.
Amazing. Okay.
Okay. Now the second thing goes back to the first thing, which is, you said Nasdaq. It's an honor to speak here today. Now, when Mikki was starting her whole thing, right? She told Gary Sipos, say the name and then pause. Let people think about it.
Yeah, I was there for that. I saw that.
Right? You're paying a lot of money to speak at Nasdaq. Use the power of Nasdaq.
Got it.
Say the word Nasdaq and then let it sit. Don't rush. This takes us into my second point. The first point is how you say what you say is more important than what you say. And it's got to feel like it's real. The second point I want to make is don't rush. Don't rush. Feeling a person doesn't have a care in the world and is not rushed is a very attractive feeling. Don't rush. And with that said, please go ahead and start your speech.
Okay. Nasdaq. It's an honor to be here today to speak on a topic that I'm extremely passionate about because I find it critical to the survival of our species. I'd like to start by asking you all a question. If you were to find out that there's an incredibly healthy and sustainable food staple, which we've all been missing out on for over 80 years because it's been purposefully kept from us by the government, would that piss you off? Let me see a show of hands. Good. But unfortunately, this is sadly very true. And further, it was once the major crop worldwide. In fact, it was the first crop ever widely cultivated by humans, with evidence of use dating back to 25,000 BC. This super crop is cannabis hemp, and I'm so passionate about sharing the truth on industrial hemp cannabis because you see, it's not a harmful drug. It's a valuable, conservative, natural resource with over 40,000 uses, my favorite of which is as a superfood. That's right, hemp is a superfood. Hemp seeds are very unique, powerful, and sadly rare protein, mineral, and nutrient-dense food source. Unique because hemp is the only truly sustainable protein source on the planet, other than crickets, and who in the world wants to eat crickets? Plus, the nutritional value of hemp is far superior to what crickets offer anyway. Not only do hemp seeds offer the perfect balance of essential fatty acids, 3, 6, and 9, but astonishingly, hemp protein is the most digestible form of protein there is, because it's nearly identical to the structure of our blood. This is called globulin edestin protein, and it's only found in hemp seeds. Edestin happens to be the backbone of our DNA, and eating hemp protein heals your body indiscriminately by repairing broken DNA strands. Essentially, this means that it will help slow and reverse aging and even treat any disease at a genetic level. Hemp truly is the perfect protein for humans, and animals too. Hemp also heals your body on a cellular level by providing phytocannabinoids as a nutrient, which are chemically similar to our endogenously created endocannabinoids, also called anandamides, the bliss molecule. You may have heard of CBD, short for cannabidiol. It's a non-psychoactive cannabinoid touted in the news recently for its incredible health benefits. The endocannabinoid system has many important roles, but perhaps the most impressive of all is that it's chiefly responsible for managing cell autophagy, which helps lead to a healthy, balanced cell environment in your body called cell homeostasis. As you can see, I'm fascinated with this incredible plant, and I have my sister to thank for that. I grew up in the rural mountains of Vermont, and when I was a teenager, I didn't have much interest in studying. Luckily, my oldest sister, Melissa, noticed this and did her best to motivate me to hit the books. I'll never forget her suggestion, which finally worked. She told me I should research hemp, and my quick-witted response was, what, that ugly rope stuff that hippies make necklaces out of? She assured me it was much more than just that. So when I came across what is widely considered the Hemp Bible, a book by Jack Herrera called The Emperor Wears No Clothes, and noticed the $100,000 challenge on the back of the book, I quickly got motivated to research this crazy topic. Well, after begging my teachers to let me research it at school and staying late to use the computer lab, I ended up with a 300-page binder of hemp information and a mind blown wide open. And although I wasn't able to prove Jack Herrera wrong, this experience got me interested in computers, the internet, and wanting to learn about everything. It also gave me a rude awakening and understanding of how incredibly corrupt our government really is. Thankfully, after generations of prohibition on cannabis, our lawmakers are now starting to see the green light at the end of this tunnel, and for good reason. For example, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has introduced and sponsored and fast-tracked the Hemp Farming Act of 2018, which could finally fully legalize industrial hemp nationwide. This will open up a massive green rush, 100 times the size of the first green rush wave of marijuana. I've now dedicated my life to hemp education and awareness, and as the founder of EatMoreHemp.com, a hemp foods educational campaign, personal mantra, marketplace, and consulting company for a new generation of hemp in America, I'm taking this message on a national tour to produce an informative and motivational hemp cookbook and TV show series. So viewers will be able to follow along on the journey as we travel the country in order to collaborate with over 40 famous chefs and hundreds of delicious, healthy recipes. So I hope I've inspired you to see that similar to how hemp helped improve my life, it can and will do the same for you and your loved ones and the entire planet if given the attention and utilization it deserves. In the near future, after a healthy, home-cooked hemp meal, you'll go to sleep safe and sound in your hemp-free home. Time's up.
Yeah. So that's where you're going to have to stop. So here's what I think you should do. Number one, I think you should go, Nasdaq, what an honor to be here today. I grew up in the wilds of Vermont. And just go right into that story. And then you could go back and talk about, like, you know, what I discovered was, you know, you go through your whole story and how you had a 300-page binder and your mind was blown wide by the possibilities of hemp. Like, for example, did you know that hemp is a superfood? It's the most powerful superfood on the planet, and also it's so powerful that it's the only thing that can do this, that, and the other thing, and the only thing that compares to it is crickets. And who wants to eat crickets? Anybody? No? Me neither. And besides that, it's even better for you than crickets. And take out all the parts about cannabinoids and mumbo jumbo and you know, all the like medical language that you use, take that out. Really, because that's where somebody goes.
It's just such a hot topic.
I understand that, but that's where you started losing people when you started talking in a language where they didn't think they understood.
Yeah, but that's what I want to do. I want to share that knowledge with people. But okay.
No, what you want is for people to eat more hemp. That's what you want.
Yeah.
Who cares if they know about the science behind it all? All they have to know is that, hey, hemp is a superfood that's even healthier than crickets. And aside from crickets are the healthiest thing on the planet aside from hemp, which is even more healthy. And in the future...
Well, if I take the part about the endocannabinoids and everything out, it'll give me time to say this last paragraph.
Yeah.
Which I didn't just read down.
That's what I was going to say, is that you could put that part in. I think you'd be better off with that part.
It's not really a story, but it's kind of like a dream.
Yeah, and I would cut 1/3 of those things out. 1/3 of the things that are not surprising. If they're not surprising, cut them out.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, that mixes it up quite a lot, unfortunately, but I'll keep working on it. Ready for it.
Yeah. The backstory, hey, look, nobody cares what you have to say until they know who you are and why you care.
Right.
So you got to tell them that up front.
Yeah, and I was thinking that earlier too. That's what my intuition was telling me anyway, so it makes sense.
Good. Very good.
I'll flip-flop it.
Yeah, that's much better. All right.
Okay, cool, man. Thank you so much. I'm excited.
I'm excited to see you, man. I'll see you. Hopefully you'll be there for the cocktail party on Sunday night.
I'll be there. I'm flying in on Saturday. So.
Good. Good. Very good. I was looking for a quote here that I wrote down about that, but it's essentially the quote is they don't care what you have to say until they know why you care or they care about you. Okay?
Got it.
Good job, Thatcher. All right. I think blaze on, exactly. I think we have time for one more. Anybody want to volunteer? Type your name in the chat if you'd like to volunteer. How about Chris? Rudy, are you back? All right, Rudy, I see that you're back, but I don't know which one of these is you. I got, unfortunately, 3 anonymous people here. Let's see. Rudy, is that you?
Yes.
Oh, first.
Yes.
Hey, man, I had a 1 in 3 chance, and I got it right. So good job. Good job.
All right.
All right. Hey, good to hear from you, man. Are you back in America, or are you still in Europe?
No, I'm back. I just came back this week. My mom just came back from the nursing home today, so everything is fine.
Okay, fantastic. Well, let's hear your story. Go for it.
I'm truly honored to speak at Nasdaq today. August 23rd, 2017, I'm at a patient house doing a physical therapy evaluation and realized I had difficulty typing. When I left, I noticed driving, I was veering to the left. Later that day, at a gas station, while hanging off the hose, I fell on my back and I couldn't get up. The EMT released me, assuring me I didn't have a stroke. Still in denial and refusing to go to the ER, I should have known better because I'm a home health physical therapist who wrote a book, How to Take Care of a Stroke Patient at Home. The next day, I finally went to the ER. When I walked into the ER, I told them, I think I'm having a stroke. I remember seeing 2 of my kids on the way to the surgery room and me telling them, I love you guys. Next thing I remember, I wake up in ICU with IVs coming out of both arms and being on a heart and blood pressure monitor. Later on, I found out I had almost died, that I had a blockage of my right carotid, and thanks to a new device, the vascular surgeon, who happened to be on call, was able to remove the clot, restoring the blood flow to the right side of my brain and saved my life. I had to be fed and I couldn't text anymore, and my left side was very weak. 5 days later, I was able to walk and talk. When I went back to my work, my right hand in the company quit, saying, I can't work with you anymore, leaving me with a company in severe financial distress. Shortly thereafter, depression, anxiety, and fear kicked in. I felt my house of cards was imploding and I was going to lose everything. It was a horrible time. I lost 22 pounds and had to force myself to eat. I realized I definitely had some damage from the multiple strokes. I forgot stuff, misplaced things, left-sided weakness, and not really safe driving, which I did anyway. This resulted in 2 car accidents. I moved out of my beautiful condo out of fear of foreclosure. I took delivery on my brand new 2018 Lamborghini, which I had ordered way before my stroke, to drive it only 1 time back to the dealer and then to sell it, because I couldn't afford it. I was so scared wrecking it before I got there. Out of panic, I even visited a bankruptcy lawyer. My depression got so bad, I finally decided to take antidepressants. It made it worse, and suicide thoughts entered my mind. I remember driving on this road, 2 lanes, and I see this 18-wheeler coming to me, and I thought, all I need to do is put my car in front of it, and I'm dead. I didn't do it because I thought of my kids. In the midst of my lowest point, my banker gave me this piece of paper. Tuesday, November 14th. A heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. It's so easy to let the pressure and distraction of life pull our thoughts away from the Father. It doesn't take long before we are so focused on earthly things that we feel overwhelmed and all stressed out. We weren't meant to live anxious about life. We were meant to live in peace. And convinced me that day, November 14th, not to sell the company. for pennies to the dollar. When I decided to reorganize my company, I was able to eat again, and shortly thereafter, one day, I woke up after a nap and realized this depression has to stop. I'm alive, I can walk, talk, drive, and take care of myself. After Hurricane Harvey and my stroke, my fiance and I moved in together. After having lived for myself for 8 years, this became a challenge. I saw the real person and I did not like it. After going to a conference with my fiance, I listened to a speaker who snapped his fingers 3 times, each snap being 18 years of his life. He was 48. After the 3rd snap, he stopped and he said, "Gone, life over." That made a huge impact on me. Here I am, 60 years old, just had a massive stroke. How many snaps do I have left? 1? Definitely not 2. In that moment, I started to think, what do I want to do with my last 18 years of my life? The shaming and disrespect got so bad that I broke up my engagement and I decided I don't want to be married anymore. I want to spend lots of time with my children, take trips, and build memories with them. I want to live again in my condo, which thank God I didn't sell and lease to a friend for a year. I reorganized my company and was able to stabilize my business and personal financial situation. I got my energy back. I want to build my village for Alzheimer's dementia residents. I started to date here and there, and I love my new extended life. How many snaps do you have left?
Yeah. Rudy. Wow. I love the ending, man. I love everything about it. It's such an honest speech. Wow. Wow.
Thank you.
Everybody's loving it. Wow.
I'm blessed to be alive. Every day I think about it.
Wow, Rudy, everybody loved it, including me.
Thank you, Clint. That means a lot to me. I've been practicing.
Obviously. Wow. Congratulations, man. I'm excited to see you do this. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm excited to come. It's going to be amazing this weekend.
Yeah. Where are you going to be staying?
In the W Hotel.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, we're having a cocktail party on Sunday night at the Westin at the Grand Central Westin, which is over by
I will be there.
It's over by 3rd Avenue. So we'll look forward to seeing you there. I just wanted you to know you were under 5 minutes. You were 4 minutes and 50 seconds, which is great. And I'm proud of you, man. That's really fantastic.
I have a good master.
Wow, fantastic. Well, look, everybody, I really appreciate everybody staying on. You know, at one point we had like 38 people on this webinar. Now we're down to 21, and I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I hope everybody had a great time. I hope you all enjoyed my special surprise guest, a Hall of Fame speaker, to give you some tips and coaching. And I know I learned a lot from her, and that's why I'm here in Chicago training with her, and that's why I wanted to share her with you guys. And until next time, for those of you we'll be seeing at Nasdaq in New York City, please try to come to the cocktail party on Sunday night, and then we will begin with a luncheon at Lily's restaurant. Allie, what time does the luncheon start? Does it start at 11? Is that right? Yes? Okay, good. All right, everybody. That's going to wrap this up. But before we go, anybody in Dallas, we have an event happening in Dallas, May 14th and 15th. We're having a technology and storytelling conference in Dallas. If you're interested in that, shoot Allie a text and we'll be able to get you the information. If you want to attend that, it's a 2-day storytelling and technology conference. And it's only like $197 to attend that conference. Not to be a speaker, just to attend. But I promise you it'll be a really fun time and a great learning experience for everyone. And so shoot Allie a text on that if you want it. Her number is 310-922-8481. That's Allie. Bam. All right. And for everybody else, great job tonight. Especially great job to the ones who volunteered. Thank you for sharing your stories. I hope it was helpful for you. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody at the lectern, at Nasdaq, and at the Harvard Club in Boston. Good night, everybody.
Good night.